Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of PSHE4You. Now of course over the last few months I'm sure you will have heard about prices rising, bills rising, and so it's probably made you think a little bit more about money. So today on PSHE4You we're going to be talking about money. We're very lucky today to be joined by Isabel. So Isabel, can you say hello and tell us a little bit about who you work for and what you do?
Hello everyone. So my name is Isabel. I work for Citizens Advice West Berkshire. We at Citizens Advice is around the country deal with many areas such as employment, housing, consumer problems, benefits, debt, financial capability, and financial literacy. We offer free impartial advice and support to help people of all ages to manage their money and improve their financial well-being. We believe that by teaching people about money, we can help them build a strong foundation for a healthy financial future. We help clients who are in debt or struggling to meet their daily expenses by supporting them with budgeting. We know that this can have a great impact on people's lives. Research shows that young people are more likely to struggle with bills and repayments than the rest of the population, and that young people who receive financial education are more likely to have better money skills in later life. Research also shows the impact that financial pressures can have in people's lives, including their mental health. Advice on early intervention can have a huge positive impact on outcomes for young people by preventing the escalation of problems and saving resources and funds in the long term. A study of clients of youth advice services found that 64% of those who receive advice reported an improvement in their stress levels. Therefore, it is vital that Citizens Advice and other charities and organizations offer financial capability and literally service to our clients. National Citizens Advice is on Instagram and TikTok, so everyone can sign up to those channels and get really useful tips around lots of areas, including money, if they wanted to.
Thank you for that, Isabel. That's great to have an understanding of what Citizens Advice do. It's Vicky here. Good morning. Why is understanding money important?
So understanding money means understanding how much money we have and where we spend it on. It helps us understand the value of money. When we understand the value of money, we are able to handle our finances in a better way, which puts us in a position to make the most of what we've got. And it means protecting what's ours. We will be able to know the importance of budgeting, and will help us to avoid unnecessary expenditure. No matter who we are or what we earn, it's easier to deal with our money if we understand it and we have control over it. Understanding money might keep us from falling into debt. If we are financially literate, we will be able to only buy things that we can have sufficient money to pay for. That means we will only borrow money if we know that we are able to repay it. It is much more difficult to have to fix bad financial decisions than to try and avoid making them in the first place. Understanding money from an early age in our lives can give us vital knowledge and skills that will assist us to make informed decisions when it comes to financial matters. The more information we have about finances and money, the better we keep equipped we will be to make the correct decisions. Understanding money empowers us on how to invest and create wealth as well. Being financially literate generally enlightens us in various ways through which we can invest our money and generate more wealth.
Thank you for that. That's really good information. It's Caroline here. Just wanted to know, how can somebody create a budget?
So a budget is a plan for how we will spend our money each month. Creating a budget can give us a great understanding of how much money we have and how much money we are spending on a daily basis. Creating a budget is not difficult. We just have to follow a few steps. So first, we need to calculate our income. We should start by writing down how much we have to spend for that week or that month. Then we can think about our needs versus our wants, which is a really important thing. This will help us to focus on what our priorities are. Paying for rent, food, or the bus to school has to take priority over the new game that just came out or the coat that we would love to be able to buy. When thinking about income, we should also look to see if we can maximize our income. There might be benefits that we can apply for that would give us a little extra income each month, or we may be able to do extra hours of work. Just to give you a couple of examples on how we can maximize income. Once we've noted down our income and thought about maximizing it, we should start to track our spending, remembering that we need to be realistic. Being realistic is really important here. We should note down our normal bills like the rent, the electric, the mobile, the internet, the things that we pay for every month, and we know how much it's going to be. And then we can note down our day-to-day expenditure, like the food or the coffee or the meal out. It's not hard to forget that little things that we can spend money on each day, like the coffee or the McDonald's that we got on our way to school or work. So keeping receipts and writing down everything that we spent for that day, it's really important. You can do that on your computer, on your mobile phone, on a piece of paper. It really doesn't matter as long as you write it down. Once we know we can pay for what we need, we will also be able to understand how much is left for what we would like to buy, so our wants, and how much is left so we can save. Trying to save money is very important. It will allow us to tackle any emergency in the future and potentially allow us to avoid debt. A budget can be done in a piece of paper, Word, Excel document, and there are also budgets online that anyone can access and are not difficult to fill in. If we Google budgets, that we will find loads of sites where they have good budgets that we can fill in, and they will then just do the math for us. Having a budget that we can change when we need to and check on a monthly basis can help avoid falling into debt. Once you have your income and your expenditure down, you can subtract and check if you're overspending. This will also help you understand if there are things that you are spending too much money on, or something that you can cut back on as well if you are overspending.
That is really, really good advice, Isabel. Something for us all to think about, I think. So what is debt? We hear this word over and over again, and how can it be avoided?
So debt is when we owe money to someone or some organization, such as a bank or a credit card company. When we borrow money, we have to pay it back with interest, which is an extra amount of money that we have to pay on top of what we borrowed. The most common debts are amounts owed on credit cards, car loans, mortgages, for example. But it's very easy also to buy, for example, clothes or other things on catalogs that allow us to buy now and pay later. If we do not have a correct budget, we may be buying things that we will not be able to afford, and then we will fall into debt. So we will not be able to repay that amount of money that we borrowed from someone or some organization. It's really important to understand why people fall into debt. There's a number of reasons. Could be because we are on a very low income, which does not cover our outgoings. It could be because we're not budgeting well. It could be because of a life event such as divorce or the loss of a loved one. It could be because of illness. It could be because we've had a baby that we have to spend so much money on. It could be because we lost our jobs. So it's important to avoid getting into debt because it can be difficult to pay it all back, especially if we are not able to make our payments on time. There are steps we can take to try and avoid falling into debt. Budgeting is one of the most important things that we can do to help us to avoid debt. if we can keep track of our expenses by using a spending diary in whichever form we find easier, and are able to update it on a monthly basis, we will be in control of our finances. It also makes it easy to know what we can cut back on if we need to. We can then make better informed decisions on what it is that we don't mind not having. If we ever need to cut back on our spending, for some of us might be having a less expensive phone, doing without the coffee on the street, choosing a cheaper hairdresser, whatever it is that you actually don't mind living without. That way, if you have multiple accounts or cards, you can ensure that you make full payments on all of them at the appropriate time. Trying to live within our means can be hard, but it is indispensable to avoid debt. It's important to prioritize your spending. This will avoid us from having to borrow money. We should always also check our bills carefully and pay them on time to avoid interest and charges that we didn't need to pay. It's a really good idea to save money every month, so we have some extra money in case of an emergency. This can help you to avoid borrowing money from others. Even if it's just as little as £5, we will have something to fall back on in case of an emergency, and this will always also avoid falling into debt. Sorry.
No, thank you so much, Isabel. That's been really helpful and lots to think about. So if you want to find out more, you can go to the Citizens Advice West Berkshire webpage, and we've also created a pack for your schools with lots of other resources to learn more about some of these issues to do with personal finances. Thank you so much, Isabel. It's been really great to have you on the podcast.
No, thank you so much for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure to do things like this and get some of this knowledge outside, and also to tell people that we are here, we can help. Even if you're just struggling or thinking that next month you might not be able to cope, come to us. We can help you do a budget and look at your choices going forward.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time on PSHE4You. Bye-bye.